I'm Jeff Philbin, here daily to dare you to discover deliciously different ideas for dinner. And today we're doubling down with duck. That's right. Today's show is brought to you by the letter D, and this decadent, divine dish is being made alongside something which doesn't begin with a D. It's a side of whipped feta grits. Let's do it. Joining me in the Dinner Diaz kitchen to prepare a protein he says more people need to cook at home is Chef Mario Brunoli. Pleasure to have you inside the Dinner Diaz kitchen.
Chef?
I am absolutely stoked to have you here because you're cooking with one of my favorite proteins, duck. So why duck? What's so cool about duck?
Yeah,
for those that don't know how cool it really is.
Yeah, so duck. So chicken, beef, pork, those are the main three proteins you eat. The next duck you're going to find and is easily accessible and not too out of the woods. Is duck. So duck is, everybody eats duck. Whole Foods has duck. Every store has duck now. Butcher stores have it. Everybody is already kind of on that train, so I just wanted to kind of put that into your mind more.
I love that. Is it hard to cook? Is it a hard protein to really work with, though?
No, not at all. It's similar to chicken, just a little bit gamier.
Okay.
You know, it's a little fattier.
Very cool, very cool. Chef Mario's cooked at fine dining spots in Tampa and Sarasota and is currently executive chef with Eat, Art, Love in St. Pete, where this dish is on the menu.
Yeah.
This is your confit duck leg on whipped feta grits.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is so. I would say if I have any kind of staple, it's definitely this.
All right.
I've always just been duck's been shoved down my throat, pun intended, my entire life of cooking. So when I opened up my own place, I was like, yeah, it has to go on my menu, and I have to show people that you can eat duck and also eat duck for breakfast.
Oh, I love that because you've perfected this whole piece of that, duck being so paramount to your culinary journey.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
You have to have this one here. But something that someone at home might not know about is confit. It's a French technique of cooking food slowly in oil or another liquid. And the word means preserved in French because it can be sealed and stored after cooking. But for the meat, it all starts with being salted first, though.
Of course, yeah.
Okay. So what do we need to do first then?
So we're gonna preserve the ducks. We're gonna cure them. So I have a ratio of salt and sugar.
Okay, what's that ratio? What are you looking for?
The ratio is around 3 salt to 1 sugar.
Okay, a 3-to-1 ratio against the duck here. Now, where did you get the duck from?
So the duck is a local duck. It comes from, actually no, it's not a local duck. It just comes from a purveyor.
Okay.
So you can find it at Whole Foods, like I was saying earlier. You can find it at a place called Wild Fork.
Yeah.
Wild Fork is popping up everywhere. Any local butcher shop will have it, and even higher end Publixes will have it as well.
Now, is it expensive?
No, it's a little around the same price as pork.
Okay.
So any kind of pork shoulder, any larger bone-in cut, duck legs are actually cheaper than that picnic, that pork, that steak, T-bones.
Sure.
So it's around the same price as chicken.
Now you got the salt, and we're bringing salt, but we're also bringing sugar to the mix. So
yeah,
what's happening there? Why sugar mixing with that salt?
So if I just went all salt, it would obviously, depending on the time I left it in the fridge, it would be too salty. And also sugar will bring a caramelization to it. So when you do cook it, that a little bit of that sugar will still be seeped into the skin, seeped into the meat from the moistures, and it'll actually help in the cooking process of caramelizing and giving that golden darkness.
So what happens next? Because this is now the curing process, right?
Yeah, so
this is where everything's coming together. What do we need to do? How long does this optimally stay for in this state?
So for 2 legs, we can leave it for 12 hours, up to 24 hours, just in the fridge. Let it cool. Let this start doing its magic. It's going to pull out it's going to start to pull out moisture from the duck, and also it's going to start to cleanse it. It's going to start to pull out bacteria and not let new bacteria go into the duck.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Now, what do we need to do with it next then?
We're going to take it. We're going to just forget it. Set it in the fridge, and once it comes out of the fridge, we'll take it and we'll rinse it.
So at home, we would have had this been curing for upwards of 24 hours, a minimum of 12 hours.
Correct.
And then you would take it to the sink, you would rinse it to get all of that salt, sugar mix off of it.
Making sure that when you're cooking, you're not cooking in the salt, in the sugar. You want this to just do its job and get off of the protein. It's like a charcuterie.
Okay.
You're letting the salt pull out its moisture, dry, create a firmer texture, and then we'll be all ready to cook.
Because to do duck the confit way for your dinner, grab the recipe from Chef Mario at dinnerdiaz.com. Use your phone's camera to scan the QR code in the corner of the screen. And how you do that is you open the camera up as if you're taking a photo and hold it steady, pointing at the corner there. And a link to our site should appear on your phone screen, hovering over the photo, and just press that to get to us. All right, so you rinsed it, and now you're just pat drying it. How important is that step in this process?
It's huge because, again, like I was saying, the salt and sugar is going to pull out the moisture, and you don't want that water to put more moisture into your duck or on your duck. The duck is going to be, oh, got a little stuck to my paper towel. So you want the duck to be as dry as possible going in to your resting rack, your roasting rack. You don't want any moisture. You want to help that salt out by patting it dry. Now we're just going to put a little bit of canola.
Okay, so canola oil for this. This is now going to be really kind of cooking inside that fat. That's the confit process here. Canola oil. Why canola oil?
So canola oil has the lowest burn point. So we're going to low and slow this. So it's not the same as frying. So you don't really need to worry about any high smoke points to it. So you could use a little bit of olive oil. You could use anything else. But just for me, the simple, I'm not going to. For at home too, you don't want to use a lot of olive oil to bake, so canola is going to be the cheaper option.
I was just going to say, because if you were to use an olive oil, you could be spending quite a bit, because that's a lot of volume right there. I mean, this is going to render a lot of flavor. Can you use that oil again for something else?
That's liquid gold. So take this, save it, cool it down. If you're going to make some eggs, some potatoes, and it's still hot, just use it like you would a butter, like you would any kind of canola oil, olive oil. It's
so this is
gold.
not just a one-time use type of an oil. You can use it again and be able to get a little bit more.
Save it for up to 30 days, 45 days. It's an oil now, and it does have duck protein and some juices in it, so be careful with it, but definitely just use it for everything.
Fantastic. All right, so what do we need to do next with this?
We're just going to take it now, so it's been submerged, it's been patted dry, cured. We're going to take it and just put it into a 275-degree oven.
Okay.
And it'll go into a 275-degree oven for about an hour and 30 minutes, give or take, depending on how many duck legs you are doing. That's the good thing about this recipe. You put your legs down, you submerge it in the oil, so you don't need any kind of ratios. You don't need 4 liters, 6 liters. You just buy oil, you cover it, 275, and you can kind of keep peeking at it. And when the meat gets Frenched off of the bone, and you'll see what we mean in a minute, when the meat gets Frenched off and it smells, and the oil now smells, it doesn't smell like canola oil, it smells like duck fat. That's what we're looking for.
That's what you're looking for. Because while the duck cooks, we're taking a break, but when we come back, we set to starting on a side of grits, but with a Greek twist. Ahead on Dinner DeeAs. Welcome back to Dinner DeeAs. On the menu today, a dish that's a staple of our guest, Chef Mario Bernoulli, which he learned at Tampa's Michelin-starred restaurant Roca, confit duck leg, which we're making on whipped feta grits. Before the break, we made a cure for the duck, mixing sugar and salt and covering the raw legs completely, which then works its magic overnight and just needs a little rinsing and drying before it cooks up. Covered in oil, then foil, then bake low and slow for an hour and a half. So what should we be looking for here?
So we'll take the foil off and we'll look at it. You can see that obviously the legs have shrunk up. The meat has been Frenched off the bone. The cooking it's working. It's a lot smaller.
Now that's the second time you've used the word Frenching. What is that technique? I know that this is a technique from a shaving standpoint for what a butcher would do, but what's the visual optics of what Frenching would be?
So we're looking for it. When it went into the oven, the meat and the skin was pulled all the way to the top up here. Now it's shrunk up. So that's showing that it's cooking. The cure worked. It started to do all the things that it needs to do to be on the way to being done cooking.
Sure, and that separation between where skin and tissue met with bone.
Exactly.
Now that bone is exposed.
Yeah, that's showing that it's soft. That's showing that the sinew is getting softer. It's going to be very, very melty in your mouth. It's cooking.
Very cool. But it's not done cooking yet. What do we need to do next with it?
Exactly. So now you leave the top off. We'll put it back in the oven.
Okay.
And we're going to just look for a nice golden brown on the top of it.
And that's going back at the same temperature?
Yes, sir. Back at 275. You can bump it up if you would like to maybe 350, just so it's going to cook a little faster. But you want to just leave it low and slow, 275, 300.
Okay. And that's going to be for about another 15, 20 minutes?
Exactly. Just kind of look at it. You want it to be a little 2-3 shades darker than it is now.
So that's what we're looking for next. It's just
Exactly.
a color change to make it look a little bit darker.
Exactly.
For what we need to do.
So then when we go to fry it, it's just a real quick flash just to get the skin nice and crisp, but it's all the way done in the oven.
I love it. All right, what's next while we've still got a little bit more on that duck?
So next we're going to go into our grits. We have white stone ground grits you can find in pretty much any store.
Okay.
This is just under a boil. I'm gonna do about a cup in here.
Now, will it taste different than yellow?
No,
No.
That's just a specific kind of stone grit that it is. I use coarse.
Okay.
I like texture to my grits.
Okay.
So we're just giving a nice whisk to keep it off of the bottom. You don't want your grits all stuck and burnt. And we'll keep it right there, nice and low. It'll be about 10, 15 minutes. We'll pull it off the heat and we'll add all of our goodies to it.
Ooh, very cool. To make this special side and our divine duck for your dinner, grab Chef Mario's recipe at our website, dinnerdeas.com, or scan the QR code down there to follow along on your phone. Well, we're going to go to get these grits going while we take a break. When we come back, how to crisp up our duck confit ahead on Dinner Diaz. Welcome back to Dinner Diaz, and it's Duck Dia for dinner tonight from Mario Bernoulli. He's the executive chef with Eat, Art, Love in St. Pete, where this is one of the dishes on the menu, and he's on a mission to get us all at home eating more duck, as you should, which means he's either got shares in International Duck Corporation, do you?
No, not at all.
Okay, you just like really cooking with it.
I love it.
I love it too. Duck is so good. Before the break, we checked on our duck after about 90 minutes in the oven, removing the foil to let it finish up, cooking for the final 15 minutes or so, while we started on our side of grits, using white grits, cooking them up in a little water and a little milk. That's it. This is a simple thing.
Oh yeah, super simple. The milk comes from a classic Southern dish. Like everybody in the South will cook their grits with milk. If you just cook it with water, they're gonna tell you you're doing it wrong.
You're doing it wrong. Okay, it's like that scene from My Cousin Vinny. It's like, you know,
exactly.
You just kind of learned grits that way too?
Yep.
Yeah, all right. Now, the duck we pulled out already, and we've let this rest for a little bit. What does that do for the actual duck itself now?
Yeah, you want it to rest because if it just goes straight from the oven, it's already hot. It has the potential of kind of falling off the bones because this whole process of curing the confiting, you're tenderizing the duck. It's going to be very, very tender.
Okay.
Soft. So you don't want to just take it from hot and put it right into more hot oil. You want it to cool. You want the skin to get super cold and crispy, or super cold. So then now when you go into the oil, it spends 4 to 6 minutes actually getting crisp, coming back up to temperature from cold.
So we let this cool for a little bit. How long do we let this cool for?
You can do it overnight. If you're going to eat it tomorrow, if your friends are coming tomorrow, you can take this confit, put it right back into your fridge, and just let it sit for 2, 3 days, 5 days. Or you can let it sit. As soon as it's cold to the touch, go ahead and fry up.
So this is a perfect dish that if you wanted to kind of get some of the steps done in advance, you can do that with absolutely the curing.
Totally.
When you want to start actually doing the confit process, you can do that piece of it as well. And then when you're kind of ready to actually have, you know, a dinner party at the house, then you can actually really even start doing even the frying part to it.
Pull your legs, pull your legs out, fry. It's a great thing for the holidays too, because you can do large batches of duck, 20 legs, 40 legs at a time in your oven.
Oh,
now,
perfect.
cool, 3 days later, get all your sides ready. Your holidays coming up, fry them.
I can't wait to start frying this. Can I help you with frying these bad boys up?
Go ahead and drop them in the oil.
All right, so this oil here, we've got, you know, anywhere between what, 350 to about 375 is really?
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to go over to 375.
Okay.
Over 375, you're just gonna kill the inside of your meat, dry out your meat before your skin actually gets crisp.
Okay, and we're just gonna have this cook for about 4 minutes or so.
Exactly.
Just to get that crispiness. All right, so we'll let this kind of go for a little bit. Let's finish up with these grits. What do we need to do next with them?
So right now it's just butter, or just water and grits. So pretty much right here I have a little bit of feta. It's our whipped feta spread.
Okay, so you made the whipped feta spread for this?
So, I did not.
You did not. So if someone at home, they can also find a nice little shortcut too.
Exactly. You just go to your dip aisle at Publix or whatever your convenience store is you go to, your dips, and you'll see all these kind of sour cream dips, your feta dips, your this dip. Just grab a dip of your liking. It doesn't even need to be this feta one, and just drop them in your grits.
I love it.
So a little bit of heavy cream, butter. The heavy cream is going to give it a different mouthfeel other than butter and water.
Okay.
That's just going to kind of like turn into a thin fat. Mm-hmm. So you want to give it some kind of mouthfeel to hit your tongue and kind of disperse the grits and disperse everything else.
Nice.
So we just fold those right in. Very light. Salt. A lot of black pepper again from the South. You want milk, black pepper. That's your main ingredients, and then you're getting kind of fancy by putting grits or by sour cream or feta or, again, whatever your favorite dip is.
If you want to do duck for your dinner tonight or tomorrow, if you're letting it cure for long enough, grab Chef Mario's recipe for his confit duck leg and these whipped feta grits at dinnerdeas.com. Scan the QR code down there to find us.
Black pepper, and then right at the end, parm.
Oh, I love that. Just that nice little bit of some salt behind that too.
Oh yeah, and then a little funkiness too, because obviously parm has that dry, that aging to it. So a lot of this.
I love that.
And we'll just fold this right in, and it just immediately melts because obviously your grits are super hot, And then it's all about texture and consistency too. I'm super strict on the consistency of my grits, so they can't be too runny, they can't be too tight.
Okay.
So every single time we serve this dish at the restaurant, me and my Sue, we always taste it. We're always adjusting with more butter, more cream.
Okay.
And it's not just about quickly putting some water, it's really making sure that everything's there. It's not too salty, it's not too fatty, it's not too creamy, it's not too feta-y.
It's just
not,
perfect.
Exactly.
It's a standard.
You kind of see how that bubble on the top is crisp.
And look at that. I mean, you have oil coming through that to really kind of make more of that crunch, that confit part right there.
You can see the other one, same thing. A bubble hasn't risen, but you can see a bubble is going to rise right there. So we'll leave it for another minute.
Okay.
Max, we'll pull up, and we'll be ready to eat this amazing dish.
Now, cooking with standards was something that was set by your mom. Family right now, anybody at home that you're cooking for?
Yeah, so I just had my little baby, my first baby. His name's Roman.
Congratulations.
Little baby Roman and my wife Ashley. I've been with my.
Is that Roman right there?
Yeah, that's little baby Roman.
Come on now.
We were eating some tacos, and the guy behind him said "damn good," and I just really wanted to get a good shot of him just sitting there raising his hands for some avocados.
That is so cool. It's this moment of life right now that you're on a journey that is like no other. It is so beautiful to see, and to be able to have that next generation as being a dad and a dad again. It is something so special that I am so happy for you that you get to experience.
It's always cooking for other people, and it's not doing it for yourself anymore. So it's doing it for other people, and you feel like you always have something to climb towards and something to fight towards. And there's never a day where you can be lazy because you get lazy for a second. You're like, all right, my wife's at home, my baby's at home, my parents are watching down. And you always.
And the other thing too, coming from someone as a chef, is that they're seeing things for the first time.
Exactly.
Like the avocado in that moment. That might have been his first time ever tasting an avocado.
And it was. I just started making him purees, and he eats them. And first thing he makes this weird face, and I know he's happy, or he doesn't go back to it. And it's like you said, it's the first time.
Sometimes I know what that tastes like.
Yeah.
But in that moment, that is the first time that
a little human being.
it. And you get to live vicariously through them for it. It's such a beautiful interaction between what food and the next generation with our kids can be able to have. And to slow down life.
Exactly.
To celebrate those moments. That's absolutely beautiful.
That's what it's all about, slowing down.
Slowing down. Now, you think we should
perfect.
slow this cooking process down?
Yeah, big time.
All right. So we're just going to pull these out, and we're just going to let these rest here.
You can really see inside of it, the oil boiling inside of the skin. That's showing that the skin it's risen, and it's staying there, and the oil it's boiling in this vortex between the meat and the skin.
That looks absolutely beautiful. All right. So now this is ready to come on your side, my friend.
Oh, yes. So we'll take that. I'm going to get a little garnish ready right here.
Okay. And so we just have, some chives over there?
Yeah, some super fresh chives. Some super fresh chives, a tomato.
I love it.
And just one slice of a tomato. Kind of thick. We'll cut this guy in 4s.
And what does the tomato do for this dish?
So it kind of cuts through everything. I hate dishes that are super heavy, especially grit dishes and dishes along those lines. So it's just very, the tomato will actually cut through these semi-heavy grits.
Okay.
So a little grit down. Give our place for our duck. Nicely going around the edges. I hate, again, that when you look at a bowl of grits and there's chives only in one freaking spot.
Yeah, it's got to be everywhere. You guys got to have a beautiful bite that just goes with it all.
And then we'll take these 4.
You're passionate about your grits, man. I can feel that.
Oh, yeah. You can't mess grits up. So.
You can't mess grits up. Okay.
We'll place our leg right on top.
Look at that. Stunning.
Beautiful dish. Super easy, simple, clean.
Absolutely a great dish right there. Because if you make this for your dinner, take a photo. Not just for the likes on the gram, but so all of us can see it. Send your pics to dinnerdeas@fox.com. That's what our friend Sandra did. Hi, Sandra. She's watching us in Newport Richie and saw the recipe I made with Fox 13's Charlie Belcher for lasagna rotolo. She sold us. They were scrumptious, and they were very much like yours. You know what? They really do look like that. That's a fun one, and it's a great dish to be able to continue to do like this one here, because if you want to, we're going to check how this one tastes. It might be just as scrumptious, maybe even more. I don't know. But when we come back after the break, we're going to find out. Ahead on Dinner DeeAs. Welcome back to Dinner DeeAs Does Duck. Chef Mario Bernoulli is with us from Eat, Art, Love in St. Pete and sharing his passion for this particular protein by making his recipe for confit duck leg on whipped feta grits, which just totally takes a new dynamic behind this entire dish.
Oh yeah. So it's pretty much an elevated breakfast, but at the same time you can eat it for dinner. You can kind of see the thigh and leg would just rip apart.
It really just kind of comes right apart like that. Look at that, it's beautiful.
You instantly smell the saltiness from the skin, from the cure. And a tip we should say about this too is you don't salt this dish other than the grits. You don't need to salt the duck. You already did that ahead of time with the curing process.
And that just brings all that flavor behind it.
As a chef, you're always taught crispy, crunchy, salt, acid, and that gives everything. The tomatoes are your acid, your chives, your crunch is your skin.
Killer. Thanks again to Chef Mario Bernoulli. Grab his recipe at dinnerdeas.com, where we also have a link to find out more about his St. Pete restaurant, Eat, Art, Love. I'm Jeff Philbin. See you next time with more ideas for dinner, or as we call them, Dinner DeeAs.